Okie dokie, cool beans. Let's come up in here. Okay, let's make this max screen. Woo! Okie doke, so we going. So what we're doing today is we're finding the max voluntary contraction of three different movements of the above the knee deadlift, the mid-range overhead press, and the mid-range seated row. We're using a force board, which let me show you what the force board is. There's a board that you'll see in a second with a bar, and that's going to be attached to this device here, which is a dynamometer. It's a force dynamometer, so it just measures the amount of force that you're outputting, and this connects to a nice little app that is going to show me the amount of pounds I am basically producing in force. So this is what it looks like. This device right here, Force Board, pretty cool company. Go check them out. I'm non-affiliated. Um, they just got a cool product. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and turn it on here. I'm gonna fire up the app. One thing I will say, this thing has a great battery life. Even like when it's turned off, a lot of things the battery drains over time. This keeps its battery really well. So and just like using it during normal sessions, stays fantastic. So okay, let's see here. So this is basically how the app pretty much looks. Let's see if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. There we go. So you've got start stop threshold. That's just like the amount of pounds you want it to start measuring at. Then you have target load. So then basically down at the bottom it will turn green once you hit the target load. You can do a percentage of that amount. We have what set you're on, the what rep, the amount of time it was for, and then while we're actually pulling, what's going to happen, let me see if I can give a demonstration, is you're going to get amount of force there. So that was just me pulling it in my lap, and you see that the average amount of pounds of force over that time period was 21 pounds, the max is 28, and the rate of force development was 16. So, and then it tells you how much you've been doing for rest. So I'm going to stop that right now. Go back, don't save. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to show you a couple of things. So let's come over here. We're going to attach it. The first thing we're going to do is the above the knee deadlift. So I'm going to attach it here. So I'm going to come down here. I don't know if you can really see this, but here's the board. And it's got like a little sort of loop thing right here. And that loop is where I'm going to attach the strap right here. So attach the strap, loop it in. And we're going to bring it to a position that is above my knee. We're going to take the bar here that also comes with. It's a nice little bar. It's got some decent knurling on there. We're going to put it here. Put the second strap right in the middle. And there we go. So now, as you can see, now with the strap, this is the basic amount of distance that I have. I'm going to put the phone right here um, so you can kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it kind of in the screen so you can see. I know the camera quality is super horrible. That's because I'm using the camera on the computer because I'm using my phone to measure this. So let's do it like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you can see the current load right now. So I'm going to come over here, stand on the board, and just kind of show you. If I pull, you'll see the amount of pounds that it basically produced. And then it's going to show you what the maximum amount was for that time period that I just did. So I'm going to move this over to the side a little bit just so you can see me do it. And you'll be able to see right there. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to adjust this to be the correct height for above my knee. That way I can track it over time. And I'm actually going to link, uh, afterwards I'm going to link this down in the description the link to my public uh, training journal, so you can see all of my times and things that I do. Okay, let's see here. Let's go a little bit more. Okay, gotta go a little bit farther down. So not quite below the knee yet. A little bit more. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that is like right at my knee. So I need to bring it up just a little bit. So ideally you'd want to get a strap that had measurements on it. And I'd ideally want to measure this, or put a mark at it, so I can do it every time. So look at the number as I just give a random test pull right here. Okay, what number was that? We said that number was 242. As you can see right there. Maybe if I put this over here, maybe that'd be better. Not really, but does that help? Not really at all. That's funny. Okay, maybe it's too bright. Turn screen brightness down. Can you see that better? If I turn the light on again? Not really at all. Okay, so let's try this again. Oh, no, can't go too bright. Maybe like right there. Okay, there we go. So 242 pounds is the max right there. So I'm gonna give myself a second to rest. And then I'm gonna do a couple things to be able to, before I do this, to be safe. Oh, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a yielding isometric, so just a hold right here to get my quads, hamstrings, glutes primed up and ready, just to activate them, to say, hey, turn on. Not for super long, just enough to turn them on. Come down here, do a high plank. This is gonna be to activate my arms a little bit, get a little bit of the abs, posterior chain working. Get a little bit higher up here. Okay, just get everything activated and ready to go. I'm gonna do some deep breaths because when you're doing nice and deep belly breathing through the nose, you're gonna get lots of oxygen. That's gonna help you get a better lift. Alright, so we're gonna go on for the first test one. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna take off my socks actually. First test one. Nice deep breath. Okay, so we can see that that was 388. So, hey Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, so because I'm using the central nervous system here, and it's pretty taxing, I just set a 2 minute timer, give my body enough time to be able to fully recover so I can go after it again. So the max voluntary contraction right there is 388 pounds. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to change this. Hold on, let me come over here real quick. Okay, I'm just switching things around real quick. And I'm going to allow you to see my screen. window capture. Oh, it doesn't actually show a window. Okay, should be right there. Why does it not show anything? Okay, so just trying to figure this out. A little bit of temporary technical difficulties here, but we've got some time for our rest. There we go. Okay. So this is what I'm looking for right here. So let me take this, let me bring this to the top order, move the top. I'm gonna make this smaller, and I'm gonna put me down here in the corner. Okay, so we're gonna go to max voluntary contraction right here, this page. It's a, if we go to capacity for greatness page, this page right here, I'm going to make this page public. So now it is publicly viewable. So let me view site. So I'm going to leave this in the link in the description, and you can go look at it at any time. And it's going to show you, you're going to be able to see what stuff is. You can't change any of my stuff on here, but you're going to be able to see. Looks like the timer is done there. Okay, so now you're going to be able to see the different stuff that I have. So let's come back in here. And for, let's go back to max voluntary contraction. So I have this page just to note what the max amount of pounds is on the force board, because that's gonna dictate what I do for my workouts. And I'm gonna retest this once a week. So right now we have 388 pounds for the overcoming above knee ISO. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back and do it again now. So this here, put this back up nice and big, and we're gonna go back there and see again. Okay. So a similar idea here is we're gonna breathe in nice and deep. Okay, come in here, get ready. 388 is what we're going to beat for. Okay, and let's see what we got. So it looks like we got 427. That felt like a pretty good pull. Hey Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, so we had 427 pounds on there. Nice. So I'm gonna go back into the max voluntary contraction page. That one felt pretty taxing. Like it was pretty wild. So what was it? It was 427. So I'm going to go back to capacity for greatness page. I'm going to uh, log for today. Make sure I only have one on here. Overcoming ISO, we had 388. And the second one was 427. I really felt that one. Dang. Okay, 427. Whoops. Uh, 388. Okay, and let's add in another one here. Same thing. Same thing. And this one was 427. Okay, and we're going to say that's the PR for today. Um, okay, kind of a nice thing here is that I have a little bit of a sort of dashboard thing on here. So um, I can list like my PRs and stuff and whatnot. So now if we go to the capacity for greatness page, let's go ahead and refresh it. And you can view this at any time, like I said. And now you're going to be able to see, okay, on February 19th, I did 2 sets of this, or 2 reps, and the first one was 388, and the next one was 427. So a pretty big difference here on those. So that's pretty cool. Now I need to make sure that in max voluntary contraction that I update this to 427. 427 is the highest for today for the overcoming isometric above the knee. So now I need to create another one down here for today, and that is going to be for do I have it in here? I don't think I have it in here. I'm gonna have to go, um, there's a timer that just went off. I'm gonna have to go make it real quick. The next one that we're gonna do is we're gonna do the mid overhead press one. Let's come back here. Let's go to exercises and let's just add in the mid overhead press. Okay. Oh, whoops. I need to make sure that's an ISO. Make sure over here overcoming. Okay. I can come back in here to max voluntary contraction, and I can add this in right here, and then we can go here, and we can go to the latest session, and we can add in one for today, and we're going to do two different ones for the overcoming mid overhead press ISO. And these are both overcoming ISOs. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch back to the viewing screen. Okay, whew, man, this deadlift really got me. Okay, so now we got to adjust it to do a mid overhead press. So let me go ahead and change this. Oh man, I really went in on this. Okay, let me change this. Okay, needs to go up more. So it's going to be a mid. So, pretty low for me would be like right here. And then mid is going to be where my arms, my elbows are at 90-degree angles. So this needs to come up a little bit. Just like that. And that's just about 90 degrees, I'd say. So that is where we're going to test. So let's just do a test one. Just a real quick one. Just to kind of show. There we go. Okay. And for this, I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm squeezing my core, I'm like, making it so it's like, okay, I'm doing something, right? Okay, wait a couple seconds for that. Go ahead and get ready for that one. Okay, so I feel like on pushing stuff, upper body, I'm relatively weak. So let's see, we got 105 pounds. Hey Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, so let's come back down here. Okay, so let's see. For this first one, it was 105 pounds. And we're going to see for the next one, see if it is a bit more. We got a little bit of time just to kind of talk about stuff. Um, I could probably even just like set up the next one. So I'm going to need to go to exercises here and set up a overcoming mid seated row ISO. Okay, now that I have that in there, I can come back to latest session and I can set that up for the next movements. Okay, which is going to be down here, the ISO. Perfect. This is overcoming. Set that one up, okay? How much time? Let me look. We got like 42 seconds. Whew, man. So, yeah, so far, We have the basically like the deadlift one, 427 pounds, doing the maximum voluntary contraction. Now, does that mean that I can actually pull 427 pounds from the ground? Uh, Not really, because the above the knee is you're in a pretty strong position there. So if I did it from the ground, it'd be much less. It might be like 300 pounds or something like that. So, but of course, we want to, we're going to test at the mid range right now. We're going to use that for several weeks, and then we're going to switch to a different position. Same as we have the mid range for the overhead press and the seated row. All right, so then we're going to switch those over eventually. Timer's just done. Let's go ahead and hop back in, do the next overhead press one, and then we can move on to the seated row, and then we'll be done. Okay? So it doesn't take a terribly long time, but it does take some amount of time, and most of it is just resting. The actual amount of work is a very small amount of work, okay? Oh, I forgot. Let me go ahead and switch the screen over. Let me switch this screen back. There we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I just don't have a good like amount of oomph with that, which is pretty normal. So we have 109 pounds right there, so just a little bit more. So you can see, compared to the deadlift, the first one was 388 and the second one was 427. So pretty big difference from this one, which we see that the difference was 105 on the first and 109 on the second one. So only a 4 pound difference, not a very big difference percentage wise compared to the deadlift one. There was a pretty big difference there. So that could have been for a number of reasons. It could have been that um, my breathing was better or whatnot. There could have been so many different reasons. It could have also been like I feel like I kind of, man, I didn't like pull a muscle, but man, I definitely feel like I like strained something on my right side. So not the best feeling, but to be expected. Uh, since I haven't been doing this for, I haven't done this in a while, so I'm getting back into things. So pretty normal that I feel like I've used my body pretty crazily. So let's just put in here, feels like strained right side. So we'll keep track of that because basically what I'm doing here is I'm testing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are the days that I'm doing my overcoming isometrics. So Tuesdays would be just a regular training day, and then Thursdays would be performance days. I'm actually coming in and I'm actually um, going for my max voluntary contraction, which would be the PR. So let's come down here. So the next one that we have our mid-seated row here. Just gonna allow for a little bit more time to be able to rest. Um, so yeah, I mean so far everything's going pretty good, I would say. Um, let's see. So okay, yeah, why the heck am I doing this? Right? Maybe that's important to talk about. So the main reason why I'm doing this with like the force board to do the overcoming isometrics, because you might not even know what overcoming isometrics are. Overcoming isometrics, really, really fantastic way to increase strength because you're literally going the max amount that you can. And it's much, much safer than doing it with weight because with weight, you have that load on you. And this, your body auto regulates for what it thinks is safe. Now, is that possible you could still injure yourself? Yeah, it's still possible you could still injure yourself, right? I mean, I just felt like a strain in my back, right? But that can be for a whole bunch of reasons. Either I didn't properly warm up, I didn't whatever, right? And so that's my bad, right? On me. So if you properly warm up and you properly get into the positions, then you're going to be safe and you're going to be safer than you would be if you're doing it with weight. So super great way to not have to have a bunch of weights around and a cool way to track it and to actually measure it and then work on improving it. So that would just mean, on Tuesday I would come in and I would work and I would do you know, 3 to 4 sets. I'm most likely just gonna do like 3 sets or 3 reps of doing like 95%, 90 to 95% by maximum voluntary contraction. So right here we have 427 being the max right there. So let's take the calculator and we would do 420, oops, 427 times 0.9. That equals 384, and 427 times 0.95. So anywhere between 384 and 400 and let's just say 6 pounds. Okay, that would be the range that I would come in on Tuesday and do for my 3 sets. So I would come in for my first one. I would just shoot for getting 384 or above. I don't need to go super max, but I need to hit that 384, and then rest for like 2-3 minutes, probably like 3 minutes, and then come back in and go a little bit more than 384, so with like 390, and then rest for another like 3 minutes, and then come back and shoot for like the 405, and then I'll be done for the day. So I'm not going like absolute max, but I'm going pretty darn close to max. So okay, let's go ahead and get everything set up for the. Well, actually, let me go into max voluntary contraction and put 109 in here. Okay, and set up the page for the seated row. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over here and get the seated row set up. Let me move this back. Okay. All right. Let's get this seated up. So this is a little bit different. Get this chair out of the way. This one's a little bit different, and that the board is going to be in front right here. And I'm going to be sitting down with my feet against the board and pulling the bar towards me. So let me make this smaller. Get this situated. All right. See, I gotta make this much smaller, much smaller. Okay, let's go ahead and try that out. So this is a mid pull. So for example, this is a pretty darn close pull. So let me kind of turn a little bit so you can kind of see. Oh, what does it say? What does the screen say? Screen says Bluetooth disconnected. Let's reconnect. We're gonna reconnect. Well, I think the on switch got hit. I think that's good now. Let's test that. Oh yeah, working. Okay. So let's come back down here. So like right now, this is a pretty far in pull. Now something about me is that I can't turn my right hand. I can't like rotate my wrist like you could with your normal arm. So I can't do an underhand pull. If I could, then I would. But I don't. I'm not gonna attach any sort of handles or anything. So I'm just gonna go straight overhand grip, and that's gonna be fine for me. Okay. Um, but this is a pretty close in pull. I don't want that. I want to do a more mid-range pull. So I need to um, give this even more. Um, I need to tighten this up even more. Okay, so let's test this out right here. So my arm should be like 90 degrees. That's pretty close to 90 degrees there. Um, yeah, we're gonna call that right there, okay? So I'm gonna do my first one. Okay, let's see what that one was. I don't feel like that was super good, but okay, so we have 233 pounds. It didn't feel like that, but it was all right. So 233 pounds. Let's go ahead and, hey Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, so we got the timer counting down now. So now we can come back over here to the page, and what was it? It is 233. Let's come over here and type in 233. Okay, that's pretty good. 233. Um, yeah, it's pretty darn good. Okay, but it's not where I want it to be. So why did I do that? Oh, because of that. Okay. So yeah, it's not where I want it to be. I want it to be a little bit higher than that. I want this to be around like something closer to 300, but we're gonna see. So after the timer's done, we're gonna hop back in, get the last one, and then I'm gonna go have dinner. That's why my wife poked her head in, because it's dinner time. So yeah, I feel all right about this. You know, this is the first time, so we're gonna come back on Tuesday to do the actual training, and then on Thursday we're gonna do the retest. We're gonna see. I'm not expecting there to be a huge difference, but I do expect there to be like a slight difference. Like for example, on Tuesday, right? I already mentioned we're going for 90 to on the first rep we're going for a 90% of 427, which would be like 384 pounds, and then on the second set we're shooting for like 400ish pounds, and then on the last rep, the third rep, we're going for like 410 or something like that, or 405. Okay, to be 95%. So, and then on next Thursday, then we would be doing the max voluntary contraction, where for the first set or the first rep, I'd want it to be above this 388 because that was the first one for today. But what I'm really looking at is on the second rep, I'm looking for it to be greater than 427. That's what I'm really shooting for. And the same for all of these. I'll be looking for on Thursday, next Thursday, for um, the overhead press to be greater than 109, and for my mid-seated row for it to be greater than whatever the highest number is for today. Okay, timer's done. We're gonna go back in. We're gonna try to get greater than 233. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to set this up in a specific way. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna go to quick start, and I'm gonna hit target load is 233. And so what you're gonna see here on the screen now, see if I can get this a little closer. So what you're gonna see on the screen now is if I pull this, if I pull this, you're gonna see that it's gonna show a certain number, but it's not gonna show me the 233. So um, oh, I actually need to change that percentage amount. Okay, so that should. Okay, going for 233. Let's get in here. Okay. Ready? Alright, I feel like that was disingenuous because, or not genuine, because I realized my position was different. On the first one pull, my hands were more narrow, and on this one, it was wider. Now, technically, on the narrow one, I should have a better one. Yeah, max is 243. So that was wide. And the first one I did narrow. So we're just gonna call that for right now. We'll say the 243 is for that. Actually, no, screw it. So I'm gonna go on the narrow again because that's what I did on the first rep. I'm not gonna take that long of a rest. I'm just gonna hop in here and I'm gonna hit it. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. That one was 267. Okay. So I think I shut it off again. Okay. So let's come back over here. 267 was the high on that one. So that's what I want to see. Okay. I want to see, let me see, 267 right here is the max on that last one. So let's come out of here. So it stops doing that. Don't save. So that's what I want to see on all of these. Is I want to see a pretty measurable improvement from the last rep that I did. So let's come back in here. Let's put 267. So you can see 267, and that's a 34-pound increase. That's pretty great. I like that. Right, what I saw over here with the mid overhead press was 105 and 109, which is not really what I want to see. I want to see more of improvement. I would want to see this be like 120 something. And so seeing that big of an improvement, that's great. That could mean a few things. It could mean, for example, on my first one that I didn't pull very hard, um, but it felt like I pulled pretty hard. And so going to this one felt even harder than the first one, which is what I would have expected. So we got our PR here, 267. We're going to come into the max voluntary contraction page and put that in for 267. So now if we go to the public page, we can see here that on February 19th, here's all of our training. And we see that for the first rep, we got 388 and 267, 233, 109, 105, which, why are these organized weirdly? I don't know why these are organized weirdly. These are like all over the place. Why are these not organized? Okay, so I don't know why they're not organized by on training log by by exercise. I'm not sure. Um, Let me actually come in here. Let me go here. Let me take training log. Yeah, it's weird. So let me go training log and the latest session. That's so weird. That's weird. Why is it like that? Maybe if I do like, that's weird. Maybe I need to sort by ascending. I think that's what I need to do. No, I don't know how to do that. I don't know, but it's weird. um, yeah, it's very weird. I don't know why it's like that, but I'll just look at latest session and that should show me. So, anyways, let me just kind of come over here. Let me just like hide this one then. Edit view, maybe. I don't know. I can't really hide training log, but just look at latest sessions. So I'm gonna link latest sessions here. I'm gonna link uh, I'm gonna link this down into this. Once it's done, I'm gonna go over, put it in the description. Okay.